Hello everyone, it's me, that Divination witch. I hope you're all doing well. Now, I'm back with a witchy video. This is another in my series of different spirits and deities that I've met over the years. This one has been requested, and fun fact, I've actually filmed this video before, and I fully edited it and everything. But somehow I lost the video and I lost the original footage, so I couldn't just edit it together again. I feel like it was the deity in question doing that on purpose. You'll know who it is from the title. It's King Hades that I'm going to speak about today. And Hades, I have personal experience with, and yes, he is a lovely gentleman, especially when it comes to his wife, Persephone. Dotes on her. And at the time, I had a Persephone video ready to go out as well. It was like he wanted her to go first, you know. So her video is already out. You'll find it on my channel. It's in the playlist. Go check it out. I've got a whole playlist about the deities and spirits I've met over the years. Oh, my hair's doing my head in, sorry. But yes, Hades, it was like, I want her to go first, and I totally lost the video. So then, yes, she has gone first. So now I am going to speak about him again, redoing what I already did, I guess. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about Hades. If you're new here, hello, welcome. I'm Sarah, that Divination witch. I hope you do stick around, give the channel a chance. It's a safe space here. I answer questions, share experiences, and just try and be down to earth and normal. Because, you know, well, what is normal? But there's a lot of fear mongering and a lot of toxicity in the spiritual community. So I just try and keep it real, let's say. Yeah, if you like that, hit subscribe. Don't be frightened to ask questions. Nothing silly. I've got a link tree below as well. If you're interested in getting a reading from me or learning from me, I have Patreon, a website, YouTube memberships, all sorts, Etsy shop. Basically, I offer readings and I'm teaching tarot, among other things at the minute. So yeah, check it out. Thanks. Who is Hades? Well, this isn't a history lesson, but I'll give you a brief rundown. Hades is the king of the underworld in Hellenic Greek mythology, theology. Hellenismos, let's say. So he is brother to Zeus. He's one of the Olympians technically, but he is known as a chthonic god. Chthonic means of the earth. Chthonic gods are normally gods associated with the underworld. Persephone is another, that's his wife. Hecate, Charon, Cerberus, I suppose. There's a whole list, basically. And Hades, he is the one that rules under, yeah, I didn't mean to say it like that, but under the underworld. He rules over the underworld is what I meant to say. But that's his kingdom, that's his domain. So Zeus was, given the dominion of, the sky and, everything, I suppose, apart from the sea, because that was Poseidon, and Hades was given the underworld. Some people call Hades Zeus of the underworld. It all depends on the mythologies. It really does, because mythologies, take them with a pinch of salt. I see them as parables. They didn't always literally happen. They're lessons to be learned, kind of thing. So yes, Hades got the underworld. Sometimes it's said that Hades is Zeus. I don't see him as that. I see him as himself. He is his own god with his own powers, his own domain, his own dominion, his own personality. So yes, he rules over the underworld. He is not in charge of punishment or anything like that. There's a common misconception with the underworld, especially, some of the comments I get, especially off Christians, and no offense Christians, but a lot of people just think, well, that must be hell, and hell's evil and a bad place. No, it's not. The underworld is not just hell or a place of torture. Hell, as you know it from Abrahamic traditions, was inspired actually by Hellenismos and Hellenic traditions. There's a lot of Greek inspirations as well within the Bible and Abrahamic teachings. There is a place of punishment in the underworld called Tartarus, and that is what is akin to Christian hell. But the underworld is made up of lots of different domains. There are domains that are similar to heaven, like the Elysian Fields, where the heroes went. There are domains similar to Limbo, where if you weren't quite good, weren't quite bad, you might have to hang out there. There are domains for lost souls. There are domains of torture and bad things, like Tartarus. And there's so many different domains of the underworld. It is a whole entire world of the afterlife. It really is. That's what Hades is in charge of. And actually, Hades, we don't even know if that's his name. Yes, he responds to that and tells you to call him that. But it is said in the mythologies that people were afraid to say his name just because of the connotation with death. Of course, no one wants to die. It makes sense. The realm of the underworld itself, as a collective, as a whole, is actually called Hades. That's where he gets his namesake from. It isn't just one area that he rules over. He rules over it all, good, bad, and the in-between. He isn't a villain like Disney portrays him. He's a neutral guy. He can be benevolent. He can also be malevolent. I suppose like all of us, we have our good days, our bad days. He's not what modern day people would call a demon or a devil or whatever. He doesn't dish out punishment. That's not his job. He's got other people who do stuff like that. He oversees and makes sure everything's running along like clockwork, basically. A bit like Zeus does to the Olympians and the sky realms, a bit like Poseidon with the sea and the oceans. Hades does that for the underworld. Now, he doesn't just rule over death and the dead and spirits and things like this. He rules over anything to do with the earth and the earth element. So it's not just, burying somebody. It's riches, it's gold, it is prosperity. It is planting a seed and watching it grow into a big tree. That feeling. It is mining for precious gems and crystals and gold itself. He rules over all these things. He is a man of many talents. Now, like I've already said, there's lots of myths about him, lots of variations. I take them all with a grain of salt. One of his main ones is about him and his wife, Persephone. I can tell you my experience with him. He loves her so much, and vice versa. And no matter what the myths say about him and Persephone, whether he took her against her will or not, it doesn't matter per se. It didn't literally happen that way. But the love they have for one another is very real and solid. And, out of a lot of deity couples that I've met, they're up there with the ones that just cherish and love each other. It's real and true, and it's love. They really do love each other. He really has a soft side to him. That doesn't mean he's weak, but it does show that he isn't, this nasty character that people would like to make him out to be. He isn't a villain. He does have love and compassion in him, despite where he lives and what he rules over. He's a very loving and compassionate person. How do I see him, first off? I suppose it's stereotypical. I see him as a middle-aged man, pretty handsome, wearing a black robe with black, greying sometimes hair, long-ish for a man, like shoulderish length, and a beard, but not too much of a beard. He does have a bident, which is in mythological depictions of him. The bident, not a trident, the bident being like a pitchfork, I suppose, but with 2 prongs instead of 3, basically. I do see him as that. He has quite a chilly exterior. If you don't know him, he may come across cold, he may come across distant, and that doesn't mean he's being nasty or mean. He's quite reserved. He's a man of few words until he opens up to you, and vice versa. He's not one for frivolities. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a sense of humour, but in my experience of him, it takes a while for him to warm up to you and vice versa. And he might crack some jokes, sort of thing, but he isn't acting a fool. He is serious in what he does and how he helps people, and he expects to be taken seriously and treated with respect, because he is a very powerful deity. He is one of the gods of the underworld. So, of course, he's got a powerful job. Treat him with respect, even if you're afraid, which, truthfully, I say this with all deities: if you treat them with respect, what have you got to fear? If you're being respectful, then that's the main thing. You've not really got anything to fear. I haven't seen his angry side myself, because luckily, I've not angered him. But I suppose, I tell a lie, I've seen his sad side, but it's not an angry side. I'll tell you some stories. But no, I mean, I wouldn't want to pee him off. Of course not. But do I go out my way to pee spirits and deities off? No. Do I go out my way to do that to people? No. I'm not an a-hole, even though some people might think I am. Look, you just got to tread carefully with any deity. That's the way I see it. So, that's how I see him. And, well, I've got some experience with him. Some I've sort of shared on the channel already. So I have worked with him, but not full time. And it's been a long time since we've worked together, over a year, possibly over 2 years. So he was around near the beginning of my practice. I've told the story before on the channel. I'll give you the brief version. Hecate was the first goddess to reach out to me. After Hecate, I felt another energy around me. I wasn't as well versed as I am now with deity confirmations and picking up on different energies. I wasn't as knowledgeable. So I thought it was Persephone around me. Turns out it was a different goddess called Izanami, who I've spoke about before on the channel. I've got a whole story time about that. I got the two energies mixed up because it's the same archetype but different ladies, basically. At that time, though, out of respect, I did reach out to Hades, and this is the first encounter with him. So I had an altar for Persephone, a statue and everything, and I do feel with Persephone and Hades, if you work with one, you may end up working with the other, because they do come as a pair and they love each other very much. So I got him a statue and him a space on my altar as well. And there were times, I've already explained about the Persephone thing, but the vibes didn't feel right. It wasn't that she was nasty, it just felt a bit frosty, a bit like standoffish in a way. Not in a nasty way. She was trying to tell me, look, you're speaking with me, but it's not me. Like, you need to be speaking with this other woman. It took a while to figure it out, but I did in the end. During that time, I did contact Hades as well. And it was a similar vibe I got off him. I remember when I first learned to astral project, one of the first ever times I met Hades in an astral projection situation, I'd gone to the Underworld. I suppose it's what would be the opening of the Underworld. I literally saw the spirit of Cerberus there. I didn't feel threatened or anything like that. I suppose if I was on the bad side, I would definitely feel threatened. He is the guard dog after all. But it was like I wasn't allowed in. And then Hades came to me and said, what are you doing here? And pushed me out with his energy and pushed me out of the Underworld. It was kind of like, look, Sarah, it's not me, it's not my wife. You need to be speaking with these other people. That was the vibe. So that was the first time I met him, and it was, for me, a beginner at all this. I was very confused and stuff. Years down the line, after everything had been figured out and stuff, he'd come through for other people in readings. Like I speak with a lot of deities, a lot of different spirits, people, spirit guides, ancestors, all sorts. So yeah, he's came through loads for people. But he helped me a couple of times at the behest of Hecate and Zeus. He helped me with some money spells a few years back. I was going through a rough patch with jobs and things, and I was told to call on him. And for a little while, he had a space on my altar. He had a candle and things like this. he pulled through for me. He really helped me, and I'm so grateful for that. To this day, I am. He didn't have to do it, but he did. They asked him to. I asked him to. So he helped me. Out of respect as well, because of that, he kind of has this friendship with Hecate, like Persephone does. Sometimes I do offer a pomegranate to him and Persephone, especially around the change of the seasons, when it's springtime and when it's autumn time, because Persephone leaves the underworld to be with her mother in her spring form and then comes back to the underworld at winter time, basically, to be with her husband. And you can feel that they miss each other. If you ever speak with them around that time, that's the sad side of Hades. That is his mourning period. It really is. It's just sadness. He's not being nasty. He's just sad. Every year I feel the sadness there. One springtime a few years back, it was around the time of the money spell. Got them a pomegranate. I get Hecate pomegranates every now and then. She likes them too. She makes pomegranates last for ages. She makes all her offerings last for ages. That's just a thing she does. Like, even fruit or whatever, it might go dried, but it doesn't just rot into mold straight away. It does last longer than the average fruit. So pomegranates can be there literally like a month sometimes, and there's no rot or anything or mold on it. That's the way she is. I got her a pomegranate and then a pomegranate. Hers lasted as usual. Theirs rotted straight away. And I don't know if it was rejected or if it was just the sadness. You know, it's like, look, I appreciate the sentiment, I just don't want this right now. I'm not quite sure, but it felt like it was a bit rejected. And that's the last time I've had an experience with him personally, one-on-one, not for somebody else. So he does have this compassionate, kind side to him, and he really loves his wife and he loves his family. And if you are devoted to him, he loves his people, his children, his practitioners. He really does. He is compassionate. He's not the Disney villain. He is a man with feelings, a god with feelings. Yes, he might have to deal with some, difficult things. Given his job role, he's a king, after all. But it doesn't mean he's heartless, and it doesn't mean he's a demon or anything like this, or that he's dark. People want to, say, especially because the Abrahamic religions, that, so he rules over hell, so he must be basically like Satan. I've heard that before. How disrespectful are you? Not every religion is the same as Abrahamic ones. Just because something is from the underworld doesn't necessarily make it bad. Life and death are both natural things. Death isn't always bad, and I know that's crazy sounding, me saying that, because I don't want to die. I don't think anyone does. I don't feel ready to. It's a touchy subject. But it is as natural a part of life as being born is. It's the cycle of life, the circle of life, as they say in The Lion King. It's going to happen to us all, whether you want it to happen or not. It's inevitable. And it doesn't always mean it's a bad thing. In tarot, death means renewal, rebirth. We can have several deaths in our life, because it doesn't always mean literally. It can mean an end of a chapter. It can mean getting out of a bad situation. Ego death, some people call it. Changing perceptions, letting something go. We may experience it in our lives several times in a literal way, as in people we love, when we lose them. And we learn that it's a cycle. And we learn that this happens to everyone and it comes to us all. It's a part of life. It really is. So we need to, my opinion anyways, is we need to try and push back on it always being evil. Because if that's the case, then, well, everyone's evil, because it's going to happen to us all. So everyone must be then, right? By that logic. Yeah. Anyways, that's Hades. If you want to work with him, I say it every single time, just treat with respect, treat him with respect, treat any deity with respect. Think of them, speak to them, light a candle for them, give them an offering. Hades, he likes pomegranates, I've mentioned it. He likes whiskey and dark wines, dark chocolate, fish, eggs, olives, grapes, that kind of thing, Mediterranean sort of things. He likes, if you're getting him crystals, he likes the darker ones, just out of preference, like onyx, obsidian, because they're protective as well. But honestly, anything from the earth, if you've grown some plants, you could do that in his honor. I mean, herbs wise, mint is pretty good. He likes that. There's a myth around it. You could do, I don't know, like almost anything in his name, I suppose. You know, think of what he represents. Think of things he rules over, and you could do that in his name. But I really don't think he requires a heck of a lot, just respect and time to get to know him. And he can help you with understanding death, with changes in life. He can help you with shadow work. He can help you with self-empowerment, and he can help you with money and manifestation. And he can also help you with love, and not in, you know, a lustful sort of way, but in a dedication sort of way. That's what I feel anyways. So yeah, I hope that helped. That was Hades for the second time. But you didn't get to see the first edition. If there's anyone else that you'd like me to talk about, please do let me know. I've got a whole playlist so far on spirits and deities, etc., that I've met. If you want to check it out, if you want to learn my point of view, my experiences, go have a look. If you made it this far, you may as well hit subscribe. And until next time, stay safe, stay witchy. Bye bye.